Go ahead.
All I got to say is she needs to find God and tell the truth, because in October of 2017, when Travis died, I called her for help, okay? And she helped me move most of my animals off that zoo so I could close that zoo and leave. And I left Jeff Lowe in charge of everything else, and she knows that. And she's the one who sued Jeff Lowe for violating the Endangered Species Act. Ask her how come she didn't pressure Jeff Lowe to be in prison instead of just suing him for money.
That's true. Why didn't Jeff Lowe go to jail? He was doing bad stuff too. That is true, Brittany. Why did Joe only take the bear of the punishment, and Jeff Lowe was doing stuff just as repugnant, if not worse?
Hey, that's something that Joe and I agree on. I fully agree that Jeff Lowe should be sitting in prison right next to Joe. He is just as guilty. Gosh. He has done things that are just as horrible to animals. Unfortunately, PETA does.
We're limited to pursuing civil. It's on my YouTube channel. Joe goes undercover in PETA's headquarters. Okay, Brittany, how many animals do you kill a month?
This call is from a federal prison.
How many animals does PETA euthanize a month? Joe wants to know, Brittany.
The figures are available online, but the reality of that is PETA is a shelter of last resort. PETA offers euthanasia services to people who can't afford to euthanize their sick dogs and cats. Yeah. And so that's why the euthanasia numbers are so low, and PETA is open about that. But the reality is PETA rescues and vets and provides amazing care to thousands of dogs and cats every year, and then transfers them to reputable open admission shelters where they can be adopted.
PETA, I don't know if you know this, Alex Stein, but PETA financially funds the wild animal sanctuary in Kingsburg, Colorado. They're the ones who bought all of that property from Pat Craig, all right? And that's who gets everybody's animal. Shut up a minute.
Even if it was, it wouldn't be.
Oh, is it true? Wait, time out. Is it true? Is it
true? It's simply not true.
They are the ones who take everybody's animals that gets confiscated.
But the Wild Animal Sanctuary is an amazing sanctuary where tigers and bears and other animals have habitats that are 20, 50, or even 100 acres where they're able to live naturally but also receive appropriate human care.
Brittany, he has a point. Why do you get to have the animal sanctuary and charge $50 a head, but Joe Exotic's sitting in a jail cell for doing the same dang thing?
It's not the same thing. So what Joe Exotic is in jail for is shooting tigers.
Pictures from where PETA's taking care of the animals.
Is selling endangered species across state lines. That's called trafficking, and it's illegal, and that's why Joe's in prison.
Roger Roots and Amber, okay? Those tigers out there and those lions are living in concrete septic tanks buried underground as dens, okay? In Colorado. Now, an African lion doesn't belong in an area where it snows 7 months out of the year.
That's true. Wait, that's true. And Brittany, no food that you're giving these tigers is better than the Walmart meat. I eat that Walmart food, and if it's good enough for humans, it's good enough for a dang tiger. And I know that they're not eating that up in Colorado, right, Joe? They're not feeding them that good Walmart great value junk.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Brittany, what do you have to say about that? He fed them, at least. He fed them well. Did you have to agree on that part? They were pooping a lot. You could smell the poop, so they were eating.
Sadly, I can't agree with Joe on that either.
I think it was because my tigers were too fat.
Yeah,
Joe's facility, most of them suffered from metabolic bone disease, which is a disease that's caused by malnutrition.
No, they were too fat. You were just saying that it stunk like pee, so they were drinking and eating because they turned everything into they eat that Walmart. So it's either one or the other. They're either malnourished or they're extinct like cat pee. I mean, how can it be both?
That's not how that works. But unfortunately, the cats at Joe's facility were severely neglected. They were denied veterinary care. They were denied appropriate diets, and they were denied the ability to walk 20 feet.
Absolutely wrong. Because
And
that's
so
why
I
we
don't think
provided them with
anyone
big
would
horse tanks.
deny
Every
seeing
cage had a horse tank in
a
it,
side-by-side
because the tigers
photo
would
of the
pee and
cell
poop
block
in the horse
cages
tank,
that the
not
tigers
on the
were in at
ground.
Joe's facility
call
and
is from the
the
federal prison.
massive,
They defecate
beautiful
and they
enclosures
pee
at the
in
wild
the
animal sanctuary with
water in the wild,
ponds
so
and
no animal
structures
smells
and
where they've been
trees,
or where
and
they
say that
come
these
from.
tigers aren't
So
better off
she needs
today.
to
All right.
educate herself a little bit on tigers first.
Joe, well, we're talking over each other a little bit, so we got to wrap things up real quick, Joe, before you go, though. But we've learned a lot. I just want to say this. So what about this, Brittany? What about the fact that Joe is an open homosexual? It is Pride Month. He's done a lot for the homosexual community. You know, seriously, I'm being dead serious. And that's hard, and we want to help out people. And, you know, well, what about that? The fact that he is, honestly, I'm being dead serious. He's a gay icon, a famous TV show guy. What about that for gay rights, locking up a gay man? Doesn't that hurt the gay community? Do you feel guilty about that, Brittany?
I don't feel guilty that a well-documented animal abuser is in prison for the crimes of animal abuse that he committed against animals now.
What about Michael Vick? Did Michael Vick get a firm enough punishment, in your opinion, Brittany?
I think that all punishments for animal crimes, unfortunately, are still very low. Learned from the punishment that he received, and hopefully Joe is learning from the punishment.
Don't you think he's learned
received.
enough, Brittany? Sorry, I'm yelling, Brittany. Don't you think he's learned enough? How long have you been in jail, Joe? Now 7 years.
Almost 8 years.
8
Almost
years. How many more years? He's sick, Brittany, because this is why it's important, Brittany. And I know you're such a great attorney, and I really appreciate you being with us, and you've been so gracious. But Joe is an elderly man. Joe's not going to go and buy another tiger zoo. He's not going to do. He gave you the tigers. You know what I mean? So honestly, don't you think, could you find it in your heart to not be like Carol Baskin and to try to find some forgiveness? Because it is 2025. Israel and Palestine is about to go to nuclear war. Who knows? We could be, you know, any day we could be a victim of some sort of terror, you know, or tragedy. And Joe's sick. Is there any way you could find it? No, Brittany, seriously, can you find it? Show us three. Don't show Joe. Is there any way, Brittany, you could find it in your heart to forgive him as an attorney, you know, knowing that Joe really has paid his dues?
I don't believe, based on
Oh God, she's crazy, Joe. Brittany's
social
never.
media that he has learned his lesson. I don't
Hold on,
believe that
Britt,
he
before
wouldn't come out of prison and
hold on,
continue
Britt.
to abuse animals.
Let me end this with one comment, okay? Brittany's just like Carol. Thinks she can't get enough, okay? She knows the truth. I have the evidence where I called her. She helped me move my animals. If she didn't think I was taking care of my animals, she should have donated some money so I could have built the zoo a little bit better. You know, because moving them to Colorado, they got no better than they got here. But if the world that's listening to your show right now wants to know the truth about Brittany Peet and PETA, Google dead dogs in a dumpster by PETA. And that's what they do.
I don't want to Google that.
No, I don't want to Google that. But
that
Joe,
at
you know,
all.
like, listen, I love animals, but you know, you had to euthanize some animals. PETA has to euthanize some animals. That's what happens. You know what I mean? You know, we have hospice in here. We euthanize humans now in Sweden and Canada. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, so that happens. It's an unfortunate situation. All right, well, I guess we're gonna let Brittany go because this conversation hasn't been very fruitful. Is there anything you want to say, Brittany, to Joe before we let you go, Brittany? Is there any last thing you want to say behind bars? His husband is just got deported. I can't believe you can't even give this guy a break, Brittany. And I mean, Joe's breeded more tigers. We'd have less tigers on this planet if it wasn't for Joe making all those tigers bang each other. I don't know how that would hurt helping an endangered species have more babies. I mean, call me crazy.
I can give you that it's true that we would have fewer sick and crippled tigers in the United States if it wasn't for Joe. I could go that far.
So bad for America. Why? Because she's claiming that they're not pure. They're
yeah, she didn't like that you made ligers. I thought that's cool that you made a liger. Why? That's like Island of Dr. Moreau, one of my favorite movies. That's cool.
So my question is, Alex, is if they're bad for the world, why are they on the endangered species list?
Brittany, why are they on the endangered species list if the ligers are bad?
Right. Why?
So
why?
ligers
Why
aren't
did
on
they
the
push
endangered
to have them
species
put on the
list.
endangered species list?
Lions are on
They're
the
not
endangered species
normal.
list, and tigers are on the endangered species list, and any hybrid of animals who are on the endangered species list are also considered.
No, that's
They're
not
also
true.
covered under the endangered species list,
We
but
have
ligers, of
scientific
course,
proof and
aren't covered
scientific
because they
papers
aren't a
that
real
crossbred
species
animal
that exists
is
in the
stronger,
wild.
just like a
And the
mule is
Endangered
stronger than
Species
a
Act
horse.
is
That's why they
intended to
use
protect
mules for
species
pack
in the
animals.
wild.
Okay?
I think
Same-
Joe's right. I do think, because I deal with a lot of cats, I have toxoplasmosis, I'm infected with it, and the strongest street cats are the ones that are constantly breeding with the other cats that are different so that they take on the strongest traits. You know what I mean? That's just common sense. So
How many
Unfortunately, that's
tigers
not
has
how it
Brittany
plays out
bred?
in reality. And that is why so many of the cats that have been rescued from Joe's facility have lifelong physical abnormalities because of the inbreeding and other absurd, dangerous breeding practices.
hey, well, how about this? I'm anti-abortion. Would you rather be aborted or have a birth defect, Brittany?
I would certainly rather we not
Aborted and be born. So
tigers
boom.
into this
So
country
look, the
who are
tiger's got a little
crippled
menopause, early menopause.
sick.
Ooh, it's
And
got
by the
little-
way, Brittany's saying abnormalities. Joe is saying they're enhancements.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't-
See, that is where we're arguing. That is true. What you're saying is a negative, he's saying is a positive. So you guys just are spiritually disconnected.
Tomato, tomato. I don't.
I do feel that a tiger would find that the inability to walk normally probably wouldn't be an enhancement. The ability to walk without pain. But maybe we can agree to disagree. I don't think so.
Okay?
Crooked legs are to go faster, though.
Yeah, I mean, this Joe, stay on. We're gonna let the attorney go. She's been a good sport. Joe, is there anything you want to say before we let her go? Because I want to talk to you and tell you what headway we made on the pardon. What would you want to say to Brittany before?
This thing just beeped, so we've only got a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you want to say to Brittany before you go, Joe? Okay. Then we'll just.
Brittany, I don't know how many tigers you've bred, sweetie. That makes you a better expert than me, but I've bred over thousands of them. Okay. And I know what I'm doing. I worked with the National Institute of Health, Texas A&M University. You've got my tigers.
Dig 'em. Dig 'em, yes.
Have a good night.
All right, Joe. We'll call you. We'll call you tomorrow, next week, and we'll tell you the headway we made with Eagle Ed Martin about your pardon. We love you, Joe. We're fighting for you, and we love Jorge. Thank you, Joe.
I appreciate you and Representative Bobart.
Yes,
Okay?
Bobert. Newsweek's covering it. They're going to definitely cover this. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself